Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast-scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater. It spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you will find the exact frequencies we transmit and receive on, and also you'll find a link that will take you to streaming on YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for this net. Again, that tone is 103.5 for this net. So with that information out, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Good evening again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Checked in by video link already is Ron, KD7QKU, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM, and I see Lee, N7KC, has joined us. And also I see Wade, W7ITL, has joined us. So with that, is there anybody else who would like to join in on the net this evening?
Good evening, Dave. This is James, Whiskey Uniform 7 November, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
7N, James, we have you. Let's start off the net rolling with Ron, KD7QKU.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, all. KD7QKU here. Well, I guess I can't talk about Wade. Wade's here, so he can talk about himself. We went to a funeral this afternoon. Started at 11:30, I believe. And our neighbor to the west of us was a black man married to a white lady. They've been married a long time, and very nice. We know Judy much more than I know Mike. Mike was very sick. He needed, kidney dialysis and stuff, and I think maybe he was diabetic, a whole bunch of stuff. And I was always afraid I was going to take something over to him, and his immune system wasn't very good. I didn't want to give him anything. It seemed like about the time I would think I'd go over, well, then since we lived in this house, I've had COVID twice, and then you add a couple of colds and sore throats on top of that. It seemed like there was always something going around. So his immune system was real low and everything. They had around-the-clock care for him. So he passed away. So we went to the funeral today. It was a nice funeral. A young black pastor. I don't know what church he was from. He might have been from a Lutheran church, because I thought Judy told me they went to a Lutheran church that was in towards Seattle. Maybe not recently, but used to. And a very good preacher. It was a good service. A lot of people spoke very highly of him. And then they had food, and all the ladies from the church, I guess, brought food, and they were all black ladies, and food was absolutely delicious. I ate macaroni because I wanted to taste the macaroni that somebody had made, and oh man, it was good cheese and macaroni. I usually don't eat it, but I wanted to try there. I knew, it wasn't out of the box. This was homemade stuff. They had lots and lots of chicken. Oh, they just had so much food. It was unbelievable. Then I wanted to try their potato salad. Somebody made a ton of potato salad, macaroni salad, you name it. It was all home-style food. And so I had potato salad. Oh my goodness, their potato salad was good. Just like my mother used to make, and pretty much like Joanne makes. And then I was going to take some chicken. They had lots and lots of chicken. I don't know if they were different kinds of chicken. But then I saw these barbecued ribs, so I decided to go for the barbecue ribs. And needless to say, they were really good. So anyway, I loaded up on that stuff. And then their desserts was good too. Had some kind of vanilla pudding, thick, in a big pan, and it has some bananas, and maybe it has some cake stuff in it. I don't know what it had in it. It was really good. And then I had a piece of, I was hoping they'd have sweet potato pie. I wanted to try somebody's really homemade sweet potato pie, but they didn't have any that I could see. There was several pies. I taken a piece of pecan pie. I don't normally get pecan pie, so I wanted, and it was very good, very good. Awful sweet, but very good. And cookies. I had one white chocolate chip cookie, and it was really good. So anyway, all in all, it was a good service. I wanted to talk to the pastor after the church, or after the funeral service. He was probably in his 30s. I don't think he had a Bible, but I don't think he hardly had a note. He stood up there and probably talked for 35 minutes and never had a note. Just really good speaker, really good speaker. So anyway, met a few people. Mike apparently had been married 3 times. I didn't realize that or didn't know that. And so he had some children from each marriage, and they were there. And it was kind of hard to put them all together. So it was a pretty good turnout for him. He was a retired military person. So anyway, good food. I would say good company, but we didn't talk to very many people because there wasn't, how it is, everybody sort of sticks together. Joanne and I sat together at one table. And I did go and talk to a lady that was next to us, and she said she was his oldest daughter. She was from the East Coast. They came all the way out here from the East Coast. Very nice people, very well spoken. So Lee's having trouble. I can't read what he's saying. Can you hear me, Lee? If Lee would just turn on his sound from his Zoom, couldn't he hear if he turned on his Zoom sound? So I don't know. Anyway, back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU. Well, let's try Lee N7KC, see if he's got a connection.
Thing 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah, it's N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Actually, a third party here. Jim, I think, is helping me get in. James. Anyway, and well, good evening, you guys. My phone's working fine. No issues here. But the K7QJ-R is not logged onto the system over there. So, something going on. Anyway, there you go. Well, here we are on our Saturday night. I had a local ham club breakfast here over in Square this morning. And went to that. That's always a lot of fun. Puyallup occurred today, I know. I, of course, didn't go. I like to go to Puyallup. I went for years and years, but I've not been there since we moved to PH, which will be 10 years ago, believe it or not, in August. So coming up on 10 years, 1 decade. Hard to believe. Just hard to believe. Paula is down to the new events and what do they call it? I don't know. The $50 million building that they put in is just stunningly beautiful. Anyway, she went with some of her girlfriends to some function down there. I may go down later and pick her up. I don't know. They picked her up, but it just started at 7:30, so I should get a call a little later, I think. I'll go get her. I didn't start my timer, so I think it's smart of mine to quit. Sorry, good to see you. Back to you, Dave. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
WW7N.
N7KC, thanks with that. And for ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX. K7ITX. Richard, are you available? Let's go to W7ITL.
Everybody, it's W7ITL Wade here in North Tacoma, and had a pretty eventful day. Got up bright and early at around 5:30. It's pretty early for me. I'm usually a 7:30, 8 o'clock guy, and did some housework before I drove over to the Washington State Fairgrounds to participate and check out all the goods at the Mike and Key swap meet, and was able to pick up another rig for my car. It's an ICOM IC2100, and actually I'm talking on it right now. I got it all hooked up to my main antenna, and hopefully I can get a good signal report after my transmission here. And let's see what else. So after I got home, I went over and visited with Ron, and Ron was able to help me out with an antenna for my car. And I got that all set up, and I was able to test that before the net, and it seems like everybody can hear me good. Full quieting on this nice IC2100. And single bander, but it seems to do really well on 2 meter. And let's see, after that I went home and ate some tacos with the family, and after that I checked in to the Northwest Country Cousin net on 3968, lower sideband on the 75 meter band, and just had a quick check-in, a lot of QRM, so I couldn't hear a lot of folks, but it was a good net, and I think I'm going to probably time out the transmitter here, so I'm going to pause. Pretty much it for this round. I might not make it on the next round because I'm going to try to check into the double nickels simplex net on 14655. So I will say 73, and if I come back, I will maybe do another round. W7ITL, back to net.
ITL, thanks for that. Let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Ron, my condolences there. Sorry about the condolences to the family. Yeah, I'm not sure why it is, but I have been to a number of funeral services where they have had truly outstanding food, and I'm sure I will be jumping out of the coffin to get to some of it eventually. I don't know why it works that way, but that's great. Let's see. Lee, yeah, Ham Club breakfast. You know, I've got, for a long time, several of us from here have been going to the Puyallup Ham Fest, and one of the guys invited me earlier this week to go this weekend, but I just had way too much going on in order to run down there. And, oh well, it's been several years since I've been there. I'm sure it's been less than 10, but let's see. I'm sure it's more than 7. Oh well, maybe next year. But having said that, I don't really need to buy anything anyway. Let's see. Oh, as for Dick, I remind everyone he had hand surgery yesterday. He may still be having some problems associated with that. I'll bet he may be in some pain, or if he's not in pain, maybe the pain meds are making him drowsy. So anyway, Dick, hope you're recovering okay and you're with us in spirit. Wade, your ICOM 2100 sounds just fine. Good signal out of it. Yeah, if I went to the Hamfest, I might be tempted to buy something like that, even though I don't really need it. But that's the way the Hamfests work for some reason. I do tend to get some stuff, maybe used stuff, and stuff that just doesn't always work out real well for me. I'd probably generally be better off if I just bought new stuff, but you know, part of it is experimenting and having fun. Let's see, out of the television repeater, I'm seeing the inside of the repeater now. I don't have a real good signal. It's intermittent, but it's working anyway. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
Let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
Well, we'll see if this works, because my digital mic is open and the analog mic is open, so everybody's giving me a thumbs up. Doesn't sound like we're getting too bad of a feedback here. Yeah, Bob did text out saying he would be here tonight, so we don't have digital switching tonight, so I just left it on the view up there at the top of the mountain. If somebody wants something different, please let me know. It was a windy, rainy day here today, and it sounds like, or looks like, it's still windy and rainy because the picture's kind of coming and going. 11 clicks away, line of sight, I've got about a 3, and it sinks down. It routinely, I'm not getting any roll, the sink is holding, but the snow is kind of overpowering the picture, almost down to a 2. But you can still see there's a chair there if you use your imagination, and some other things there. Condolences on your neighbor. Sounds like a good neighbor to have. You always hate to lose those. I just lost 2 great neighbors because they sold their house and decided to move to Texas. I've heard some noise over there the other day, so someone else knew I was over there, but I haven't met him yet. Funerals and weddings. Great food and the people you haven't seen in ages. When my grandmother passed away, I saw somebody about my age, and I literally had not seen him since he was probably, I don't know what, 9, 10 years old, something like that. So it was interesting to see him after all that time. And we said, well, we should see each other before the next funeral or the next wedding, but we'll have to see if that ever happens. See, the Hamfest this weekend. Looking forward to hearing anybody's report. I guess Wade said he went there, so if he comes back again after his double nickel net check-in, I'm interested to see what it was like. What was the activity like? What was the stuff there like? It's always interesting to get the report. And then see, Wade, I don't know if you're listening now or not, but his audio coming in here over that repeater is probably some of the best audio I've ever heard out of an FM rig. It is really, really good audio. So he's not only got a strong signal, he has superb audio processing on that 2100. I'd love to hear more about how they do that. Let's see. Oh, and Dick, if you can hear me, get well soon. I hope your hand thing went well, and I hope you're listening in tonight, and hope you heal up quickly. So that's it for me, James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Keep in mind, we take visitors. If you want to just check in and check out, or join the conversation, let our net control, KD7ZYM, know, and we'll let you join in.
7N, thanks for that, James. And for an ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 147.08 repeater, WW7STR's repeater, with a specific tone of 103.5 for this net. And I'll pause in case anybody wants to check into the net. Hearing none, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, I've got 44 degrees out. It's overcast and drizzling a little bit outside. Today was just getting some domestic chores done around the house, laid back and went through the mail for the last week. So nothing exciting there. So that's about what's happening. And Ron, for a funeral, that sounded like it was a very interesting after-dinner party, you might say, for the going-away party. So that's pretty nice to have the family do something like that for the mourners that come into the funeral. And we wish Richard well with his hand surgery. Got to get the finger going again so he can push the talk switch on his mic, so you'll be with us on the nets. So I'm sure that will happen very soon. And Wade, congratulations on a new radio. Maybe we'll see you back later. And Jim, sorry you missed going to the Ham Fest, but as you say, we all have too much stuff. We don't need any more. So that's pretty good. And James, glad to have you join us today with the net. And again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. So that's about all I got to do to add to it. So let's move back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Thanks again, Dave. KD7QKU here. Yeah, Wade's little radio sounded good. I have a 2100. I've had it for quite a while. I guess I've never heard it on the other end. I've just used it, so never had any complaints on it. I have it in with the ATV stuff, so if I was to turn my ATV equipment on and I would be talking, I'd be talking on that radio. Bill, KC5WFH, Bill, are you out there? I have a question for you. Bill's listening. So Wade and I were talking. Wade mentioned there used to be, or still is, a guy up by Sultan that repairs radios. I don't know if anybody knows about him, but Wade has something he wanted to have fixed. And I think I've heard Bill recommend him before to people. So I think Bill would even have his phone number, possibly. And he would know maybe if he's still repairing them. I know there was a guy over by where Bill lives for a long time that did ICOM radios. I think he was a retired ICOM person, but I think he finally gave up on fixing radios and kind of quit. So let's see. I guess I didn't do much today. Haven't done much. I'm trying to think. Last time I went over to the Puyallup, I bought a little Yaesu all-mode radio in, what was it, 852 or something. Great little radio. I use it all the time on 10 meters. It has 6 meters, 10 meters. It has 2 meters, 77 centimeters in it. Great little radio. Like it. I always get good signal reports on it. Going back to the to the funeral. They had a military service for him at the end of the regular service. Somebody fired a couple guns, and they did taps, and then they had 3 people inside that unfolded the flag and folded the flag. That was nice. And back to the food. I think all the ladies at that church must have made the food. There was way more food than the people could eat. Way more food. I had their string beans. I like cut string beans, and I was curious to see how they tasted. They tasted really good. I don't know what the person that made them seasoned them with, or what she put in the water. Joanne even said the same thing. Oh my gosh, she said these beans are good. Yeah, I said I was thinking the same thing. So like I say, there was just too much to take. I couldn't get it all on my plate, but I would have liked to try everything. I sure hope they put the food that was left over to good use. Maybe they sent it home with the people that were there. I don't know. Some of the people were out of town. Lee's showing us something. I can't read it, Lee. Out of focus, unfortunately. Well, let's see. What else can I talk about? I can't. That Country Cousins net. Yeah, sometimes I listen to the Country Cousins net on 75 meters. There's a couple of those Country Cousins. There's a, Columbia Basin net. There's all kind of nets around on 40 meters and 70 meters, 75, whatever it is. I can't read what you got either, James. It's out of focus. So with that, I guess I'll just turn it back and let somebody else talk for a while. KD7QKU, back to net control.
KC5 WFH.
5 WFH. Welcome to the net, Bill. Go ahead. The net's yours.
Is he still doing it?
Let's see, Ron, I'm going to try to answer your question. This is Bill in Kingston, KC5 WFH. And I've got sad news. The man that you were referring to over at Sultan, he's a Silent Key. He's been gone over a year, I want to say, maybe close to 2 years. And he was a highly respected repairman here in Puget Sound area. And the other fellow you mentioned, Cooney. I saw him at the Ham Fest today, and he had a table, and he was selling used equipment. But he too, as you mentioned, he got out of the game. He told me, he says, his eyesight wasn't what it used to be, and it's getting harder and harder. The components and so on is just getting tinier and tinier. All right, so there you go. That's the answer there. I faltered on trying to catch your question, Ron, when you called for me. PL tone was off there just a click or two. Waving a hand at all you good people out there, and carry on, Dave. KC5 WFH.
Thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate it. Did you go alone, or did Ed go with you?
Oh, we had 4 in the car. Myself, Ed, driver, WB7ATS, Ray, he lives here in Kingston, and a new ham joined us. Let's see, K9PEW, lives here in Kingston. So we had a good drive and a good time. KC5 WFH, back to net.
Okay, Bill. Well, thank you very much for the information on the repairman. I appreciate that. It's too bad. If you hear of anybody else, let us know. KD7QKU.
WFH, Bill. Thanks for joining the net. Bill, let's go to another old-timer, Lee, N7KC.
7N disconnected.
N7KC having a little connection problem there. Let's move on down to Jim, N7QO.
Okay, I see Lee turned his, maybe he got the word that he's up. Lee, you're up if you got a second there. No, guess not. N7QO. Well, thanks for joining in, Bill. And yeah, I don't know. There are some problems. I know every now and then Lee can hear us on the 2-meter machine, but I guess now's not one of those nights, and I don't know what's going on there. But I don't know, Lee. If you can hear, Jim Bellevue Jim said that Echolink seems to be working for him. No, not working for you. Well, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it seems like Lee can hear me. Yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought here. Yeah, you know, I really used to enjoy going to the Hamfests for a long time. Invariably, I wind up getting something, but it's been a while. I need to somehow make time to do that. But honestly, I don't even have time to do much with amateur radio anymore. Pretty much the only thing I make time for is the television nets, and even then, it doesn't always work out. Occasionally, my my entertainment committee manager has an overriding voice over what I'm going to do from time to time. So I just wrestled away from her not too awfully long ago control of this one computer so that I can at least send out a picture, even though my 434 camera doesn't seem to be out functional very well. But anyway, hopefully we'll get something worked out here. Lee, if you can hear me, Bellevue Jim said text him if you could, please. And back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, let's go to James, WU7N.
K7ZYM, Dave, this is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Yeah, I was able to get into Echolink, and I was hearing everybody just fine over the phone, of course, with the usual half-second delay. And then when I logged off, I could hear over the radio, it says WU7N, logging off. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm wondering, does it have anything to do with daylight savings time? I think it's 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. We all leap forward an hour, spring forward an hour. So maybe there's something to do with that. If Lee lived east or west of us, I definitely blame it on that. But since he's practically on the same longitude as all the rest of us, I don't think that explanation is going to hold up. Kingston Bill for the report on the radio repairman. It's always sad to lose someone like that. And yes, repair of electronics these days, wow, it's getting to the point where you really got to send it back to the factory. And boy, they sure make it worth your time when you send it back to them. But all these little surface mount components, they're getting so tiny now, and then the components are more and more specialized for whatever it is they're doing. And the resistor looks just like a capacitor. It really is interesting to look at them. I see kits all the time on Amazon of like kits of resistors or capacitors with these tiny little things. And I've always thought, what would happen if that little box fell over and all those parts went into the carpet? I guess you just let them shrink into the carpet, right? You're never going to get them back into the box. It's worse than the little lock parts, with all the different pins. Anyway. Play with my Arduino Uno, the little microcontroller. Today, interesting, I learned that the pins, I hate it when you get what you pay for. I saw something that said the actual chip itself on the board is $4. But if you're trying to do analog sampling, you have a choice of from 0 to 5 volts. That's it. Don't put anything else on that pin more than 5 volts. And don't put a negative voltage on there, meaning that if you're really trying to seriously interface that little microcontroller board to almost anything, you'd probably want to use an opto isolator and a transistor network. Because, like, for example, if you were trying to sample 120 volts AC out of the wall, you would, of course, need to figure out your sample rate, and you'd also need to figure out how to convert the root mean square voltage at any given microsecond down to from 0 to 5 volts, because that's what it's going to read. And then you have an integer from 0 to 1023 to feed into the program. And I'm not even sure how you handle the negative side of the cycle. So there's still a reason why they have 120-bit analog to digital converters out there. Those are of course, I think Boeing still uses the cheap $4 parts in their 737 Maxes, but I can't confirm or deny that. It's just something somebody told me. Anyway, well, maybe we could get Lee next, because do we have Lee's attention? Because last time he was on the phone. So if you want to go next, Lee, maybe Dave would do that. This is James, WW7N. Let me turn it back to our net control, Dave Mann, KD7ZYM.
WU7N. Yeah, well, let's try Lee again. N7KC. See if the bells are with us.
Okay, N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Okay, well, I can't hear Dave. Every now and then I can get a feeling that he's talking, but just nothing comes through. But I'm hearing everybody else okay. I don't know what the problem is. It's not my phone. I rebooted my phone. My phone has been working fine. I can go to Echo Link. I can exercise the echo test feature just fine. I can talk to it. It talks back to me and all that. But when I try to connect with K7QJ-R, it comes back with a message and says that call is not logged in. And of course, there's nothing I can do about that on this end. So, after a fashion, this works okay. I had Kingston Bill. I couldn't understand an awful lot of what Bill said, but anyway, good evening to him. And Ron, I got in a little late. When I heard, I didn't hear you the first time. When you talked about being to a funeral and everybody says, we're so sorry, I thought, oh my gosh, what has happened, you know? So, thankfully, I guess it was a neighbor and nobody in your family. I don't have a whole lot more. It's just kind of strange, isn't it? This is the second time that this particular issue has popped up. Normally, it just is slick. Works good. But I can't do it tonight. But I think I could probably connect up with other people just fine. So anyway, back to you, Dave. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
WU7N.
Thanks, Lee, N7KC. Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City again. It was great to have Kingston Bill drop in. KC5WFH didn't have this evening, and I guess he had a grand time at Hamfest today, so wish him well with that. And let's see, looking up across the set, I see that Wade, W7ITL, is back. So let's take Wade, W7ITL.
Well, this is W7ITL Wade here in Tacoma again. It was nice to hear Kingston Bill check in, and very sad news about the Sultan repairman, which I think is Bruce, W7BCW, which I actually got recommended to reach out to him to get my 7100 repaired. Well, it's not going to happen now, but yeah, it's sad news. I didn't know that he had passed, and thanks for the report, everybody. And I did want to say Ron, I did say sorry about your neighbor, and sounds like you had good food today, and got to visit with some folks. So condolences to the family, and that's pretty much it for my report. I'm going to say 73, W7ITL back to net. What?
Tell us about the ATV group from Portland.
Oh yeah, I did get to interface with the guy there, Ed. I think that's his name, and I'm going to pull up my call report here because I didn't remember his call sign. It's Whiskey Bravo 2, Quebec Hotel Sierra, WB2QHS. That's Ed over there in Portland. He had a table set up there like he did last year, and I chat with him for just a few minutes, and yeah, he was talking about they're still using FM, and I think they're transmitting on 900 megahertz band. Yeah, he says that they're doing good, and not a lot more about that, but I did reach out to Jim from the Colorado ATV group, and asked him about the Hack RF transceiver and how we might be able to use it with ATV. He said he had no idea, and he didn't know anybody in the States that was using it, but it looks like maybe the British group is using it or experimenting with it. So he's going to put my questions to the newsletter next month and see what other people say about the Hacker RF. Maybe by the time the newsletter goes out, I'll have it in hand. I'm getting it off of AliExpress, so I'm going to say 10 to 14 days, and I should have it, and we'll start experimenting with it. So that is it. W7ITL back to net.
ITL, thanks for that. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. I'm Dave, KD7CYM for an ID. Well, let's see if Bill wants to join us. KC5WFH again.
Will, as a matter of fact, this is KC5WFH again. I have a business card here in my left hand, so for those of you who would like to jot down maybe a little information, this is called the Amateur Radio Service. This gentleman, Sherwood, Oregon. I'm going to give you a phone number of 503-554-8831. But you'll probably want to go to his website. I'll spell it for you. BUDGARSIDE @gmail.com. I say again, BUDGARSIDE, one word, @gmail.com. I ran into this guy over at, what is it, CCOM, over in Oregon here, the last time it was held, and he gave me one of his business cards. I urge you to check it out. Don't get your hopes too high, because a lot of these freelance repair folks, they're going to charge you a price just to set the radio up on the bench. So be braced for that. But anyhow, that's the information I have to share with you tonight. Hand it back to Net. KC5WFH.
WFH, thanks for that. Well, let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Well, this is KD7QKU again. Well, thank you very much, Bill, for sharing it with us. I didn't get his email address completely, but I might have missed. Your signal, Bill, is very strong. I had to turn my volume down. And Wade, that little radio sounds really good. James, W7N, said it was probably the best he'd ever heard on this net. So that's a good compliment. And thanks, Wade, for sharing with us what you found out about ATV. I don't have a whole lot more, you guys. I'm sorry. we did go over tonight and have dinner. Wade will know where it is. I don't know if he's eating there or not. So over by the Safeway's service station and, you know, by Ace Hardware, there's a Subway shop, and then next to it is a little Foo restaurant. But we went in there and I had Mongolian beef, and it was really good. And Joanne had some yellow curry chicken or something, and she said it was just delicious, and I tasted it. It was really good. So, you know, the amazing thing, you know, I've been retired for 20 years, and it seems like we've used to always go out and have Asian food, and you used to get it, you know, for $77.95 a plate and $8.95, $9.95, and now of course it's doubled. But the food's still good, but my income has stayed the same. So it's kind of interesting, I guess. That's life. I understand that their products, you know, that they make their food out of has gotten more expensive too. So that's where the price has gone up. But I used to remember hearing people talk about being on fixed income, and I never thought much about it, but I see what it's all about now. So those are just some of my thoughts. But anyway, back to that KD7QKU.
QKU, the fixer, yes. We all understand that. Let's try Lee in the 7KC again. KC.
Wait. Sorry. I'm not here today, if you will. Yes, I'm KC leader for your Oh, very good. Okay, well, I won't hold it. We're getting out here at the end of the hour. I've got my 2-meter outfit sitting on 146.55. And I didn't know what time the double nickel test started. Before I had tried it, I heard a few stations here. And my voice is a little rough tonight, it seems, too. Anyway, so thanks everybody. Good to see you. Turn it back to you, Dave. This is WKC Later for Anthem.
WU7N.
In 7KC, and also acknowledge WU7N. Let's move down to Wade, W7ITL.
I don't have anything more to say other than thanks, Bill. I'm going to get a hold of that gentleman and see if he can service my IC 7100. Sounds like maybe he can. We'll see. I'm going to reach out to him regardless and see what he says. All right. Well, that's it for me. W7ITL back to net.
ITL. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Bill, thanks for the information, and Wade, thanks for the information as well. Ron, yeah, fixed income. We had planned for things to work out differently, but that didn't happen. Oh well. Well, let's see. As far as getting stuff fixed, after I moved here, I kind of decided to stick with ICOM because they were in town, and I could just drive my rig, whatever needs repair, just drive it over there. I think that was a good idea. I don't know, I haven't really had any problems yet. When I moved here in 2000, I sold all of my tube-type equipment before I left Texas. I was concerned that it may not survive the road trip between there and here. In a way, I kind of wish that I still had some of that equipment, but this 2000 vintage ICOM radio. Pretty much does everything that my older equipment did and more. And I also have as a backup an older Yaesu FT101, which was actually given to me by a friend. It doesn't transmit all that well, but it receives pretty good anyway. Need to look at that sometime. I don't know. It should be fairly easy to fix ICOMs if we're in town here, I would think. That's why I did that. Let's see. EHAM repairs, reviews, a link to the repair guy. Okay. Well, I'll let Jim talk about that. He's coming up in just a minute here. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. And it's time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
Let me see if I can do a screen share here and see if that works at all. Because I think the person that we're talking about, I think that's who it is. The phone number matches up with what Kingston Bill just said. And this is on ham.net. And it looks to me like he's still in business. And there you can see some of what they've got here. They've got various people that have sent stuff into them and been satisfied with the service. So anyway, the link, this link is in the on the digital side in the chat. So anyway, I thought I'd share that with everybody so you could see that. Well, looks like we're 8 minutes at the top of the hour, and certainly appreciate everybody participating tonight. Anybody who's watching, the picture has just been the ham shack up on Cougar Mountain. The picture really is quite poor tonight. I think it is very much weather related. It really must be blowing and raining up there and windy, because right now you can't really even see what the picture is. It's a 1 maybe, or 2. And it's coming and going a lot, although the synchronization is holding up quite well. I have no idea what's going on, but we should figure this out, because this is really quite the puzzle. I got your text, so the cellular network seems to work. But that doesn't make sense to me. I would be able to get in and see everything, and you're not, unless something changed. So maybe my software is using some old link or something like that. It's the only thing I can think of. So you might do a fresh search on that call sign, like if you're starting all over again, and see if that works. That's an old database administrator trick to try and see if something's got corrupted in the link. So you get rid of the link and you search for it like, you know, you're just starting all over again. That's it from Northeast Bellevue tonight. My name is James, Whiskey Uniform 7 November. Thank you all. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to Dave, KD7ZYM. Go ahead, Dave.
7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. Boy, it's been an interesting net this evening. But I'm going to see if Kingston Bill has anything else to say. KC5WFH.
KC5WFH again. Well, good luck if any of you try this repair from this gentleman here. So there was a note on the back of the business card that says $50 for an eval. So there you go. You're going to drop 50 just for him to say yay or nay. So keep that in mind. And of course, the shipping is another consideration. So you got to weigh all that up. Dave, thanks. I thought about you today. I want to say the last time I saw you, you were at the Ham Fest, and you were bent over at the waist, and you were giving some stuff a hard look. And I caught myself. I did tap on your shoulder. I said, the man is He's looking intently at something. I'm going to leave him alone. It was a good turnout. The weather was fair until the last few minutes, and then here come the rain, but that's the way it goes. All right, good to hear everybody out there. You guys carry on. Thanks, Dave, for reaching back for me there. Nothing further here. Good evening, KC5 WFH.
WFH. Great to have you aboard net this evening. Well, let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
QKU here. Yeah, well, yeah, and I was over to that ICOM repair place a few times. My brother had an old radio and the memory battery had gone out of it. And so I taken it over there. They had $100 minimum repair, and the guy says, I can sell you the battery for, I forget what it was, $5 or $6, $3 or $4 or whatever it was. You put it in yourself. And so I said, okay. So I thought that was nice of him. I mean, my brother was going to pay the bill. It would have been okay with me. So then I think Lee, Jim's smiling, Lee helped, encouraged me to, or told me how to do that, how to change the battery. And so I bought a nice soldering station and heated it up and tinned the battery and stuff. And the battery, was about as big as a quarter, and it changed real easy. So that worked out good. My brother wasn't too sure I could do it, but my brother was an advanced, and I was a tech, and he didn't think I could do anything, but it was okay. We did get along very well, but he wasn't sure about my radio capabilities, but it worked. In fact, I changed two memory batteries over the years in radios. What else was I got? There was something else on my mind. Oh, when we came home, we went through rain and hail and everything else. This place we went to was down by Lakewood, I guess it's called, south of here. Went down Bridgeport Way and turned on Stillicum Boulevard, something like that, and went over there. Nice place, big cemetery. Oh my goodness, I didn't know it was there. Let's see, I'm just killing time here. There's something else I was going to talk about, but I forget what it was. Oh yeah, man, I used to always go to swap meet, out there at Hamfest with Dave and Lee and probably Bill. I can't say Bill's last name. Can't even say his call sign. But anyway, a bunch of us used to go and we'd have dinner there at the little restaurant by the Gold Gate, and then we'd go have breakfast, I guess. Then we'd go over there and go in, and it was always fun to go with Dave. Like Bill says, man, Dave, he has a really good eye. I'm telling you, boy, he doesn't miss much, and he knows what most of it is too. And so it was always fun to go with those guys. I enjoyed it. I went last year, but I didn't go this year. Maybe next year. There's just so much stuff to look at, and then you're tempted to buy. It seems like when I went, every time I went there, I bought a power supply. I must have had a half a dozen Astron power supplies, and I got most of them real cheap. I think the last one the one I bought was with Dave, and I offered this guy $20 for it. If I'm not mistaken, Dave said he ain't going to take it. He took it. He didn't want to lug it home. That was amazing. So anyway, I even bought a computer monitor over there once. So lots of good stuff over there. All right, it's 44 degrees here, Dave, and I don't know if it's raining or not. Probably not. It wasn't the last time I was out. All right, fun listening to you guys and seeing you guys. KD7QKU, I'll be clear.
QKU. Well, it's time to round out the net for the evening, and we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7ATS repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, terminating the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening, all. Thank you.